Welcome back to Cinema Savvy. We are here with our final review of the night. We've done 3 movie reviews tonight. We've been streaming for a very long time, so apologies if we seem tired, but we're going to get through this very last film. And will this be the last film we technically review of 2018? Probably. I mean, tomorrow we're going to give our best and worst lists. We'll probably announce that again towards the end. But in terms of like actual movie reviews of 2018, like this is looking like this is pretty much going to be the last one. We are playing catch up with December. I've mentioned this before, but December's been an absolute packed month for movies. This was a movie I actually saw 2 weeks ago, and I was debating whether to do a solo review for it, but I know that you saw it as well. And we needed to wait until you got good internet. You're back now. You're back at your own place. So we have good internet, and here we are. So as you can see from the title, we're giving our review on... And this movie's got so many titles. It's Wreck-It Ralph 2. It's Ralph Breaks the Internet, whatever you want to call it. It's the second Wreck-It Ralph movie, essentially. It's the latest Disney animated classic. And yeah, so we're going to get into this thing. We haven't really talked about this movie all that much, and I don't know how long this review is going to be, in all honesty. But you go into your history with Wreck-It Ralph. Did you see the original? Did you like the original? Because I've never really known you be like a big like Disney animated classics guy.
I loved Wreck-It Ralph. It was, personally, me, one of Disney's ballsiest films for a long time because it wasn't about princesses. It was about video game characters, and it felt so different that it felt more of a Pixar film than a Disney film, that this is this incredible idea. This is a video game world being real. That, to me, strikes me something like Pixar would do, but Disney did it, and I loved it. The whole concept of the bad guy is actually the good guy, and he's been getting... I just thought the Wreck-It Ralph one was phenomenal. It was such good fun. And when they announced a sequel to it, normally, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Disney sequels as such. I was kind of up for it. When they said, yeah, Ralph's going into it, I was like, that is actually the smartest way to do a video game, being modern day. So I was excited to see this, and I did get to go to the cinema to watch this film. I didn't get... Only on a pure fluke. I was meant to see Spider-Verse, and then it had awful... It was only showing when we could go in 3D. So we went to do Ralph in 2D instead. So we saw Wreck-It Ralph. Still not since Spider-Verse, which is frustrating. But the trailers didn't blow me away, but I was intrigued and summed up very quickly. It was all right. That's like quite anticlimactic, but...
We could end the review there, because like my review is exactly the same thing. It was a movie I watched and thought was fine, essentially, my review of the movie. Wreck-It Ralph is a weird one for me. I was very late to the party watching it. When I bought all my Disney DVDs in bulk, that had already been out a number of years, and I hadn't got around to watching it. And I know that people, you know, as a video game fan myself, I was interested in watching it, and also word of mouth was generally positive on the movie. Whilst my favorite Disney films tend to be the more traditional, you know, the 90s ones, the Disney Renaissance, like the more traditional, you know, princess stories, essentially, like, or old stories like Beauty and the Beast, etc. I wanted to give it a chance, but I'm a bit of a Disney snob when it comes to stuff that I like with the animated classics, and seeing the likes of Robotnik and Zangief and things like that in a Disney animated classic was very weird to me. As you said, like, I could imagine that being in a Pixar movie, because they tend to like toe the line with stuff like that a little bit more. But I think I just need to accept now we're in a very, very different age of Disney than what it was when I was a kid. And I need to accept that. Otherwise, I'm going to lead a very miserable life the rest of my entire time on this planet. But I didn't hate... I wasn't a big fan of Wreck-It Ralph, the first one. It was fine. The video game world was very, you know, different and everything like that. When the trailer came out for this one, I was kind of worried, though, because it seemed like it didn't justify being a feature film. When you see the idea of Ralph has to go into the internet and, you know, shenanigans happen, that felt to me like a 10-minute extra on a DVD or something like that. A fun little what-if story. It didn't feel like it had enough story or substance there to warrant a full feature film. And then the trailers came out, and you just see Disney just whoring their product placement out left, right, and center in these trailers. You've got stormtroopers in a Disney animated classic. What the hell is going on? You've got Star Wars, you've got Marvel, you've got all the Disney princesses. And I felt like I needed to take a shower after watching the trailer, because it was just money grubbing Disney. Look at all these franchises and things we own that we have our claws into. Also, seeing the Disney princesses in like CG animation was kind of a betrayal to me, like a little bit. So I was really worried from the trailers, but as I just said, I went to see the movie. It was fine. I did have a lot of problems with it, and it was mostly that segment where you do have that. It's the product placement segment. to me, the movie just like stopped dead in its tracks for about 10 minutes to just, Disney poke fun at itself. Oh, look, there's a stormtrooper. We've got the Star Wars music playing. Oh, look, there's C-3PO. And the story didn't feel like it was there. I definitely prefer the first Wreck-It Ralph movie. I think that was a solid story at the heart of it. It was, building that friendship between Ralph and is it Penelope or Vanellope? I think it's Vanellope, isn't it? Something like that. It was building that friendship and it added like a good moral to the story. Whereas this one, it was just like, let's throw you into that internet world and just crack a lot of jokes. Disney sort of like, pick fun at itself. But even that isn't like a new or innovative thing. Like Disney have been doing that for years now. They did it in Tangled, in Frozen, in Enchanted, Moana. Like Disney poked fun at itself and like some of the Princess Disney tropes and everything like that. So even that was nothing new to me. But I've gone on like a ramble there. I'm going to pass it over back to you now. What did you think of the product placement stuff?
Now, the product placement didn't bother me because it was in the trailers, and I knew that my thoughts going to this is going to be like the Disney version of Ready Player One. It very much felt like Ready Player One when they first actually go on the internet. There's all this shot of all the avatars, all the humans going into this world. It felt very Ready Player One-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I very much enjoyed Ready Player One, so it was very interesting. But then when I watched it, what I loved, my favorite thing of Wreck-It Ralph 1 was the innovation of the world within the plug. Where in the plug sockets, they were all like friends. If the plug was being pulled out, they'd all go homeless. I loved all those little things. Again, very Pixar-y, more so than Disney animated. And then in this, I loved the concept of the internet, like the pop-up adverts popping up and being like greedy, greasy. I just loved the whole internet dynamic of the searches, the whole piss take of what makes viral videos, like how stupid they're meant to be. It's Pokemon and everything. I really liked what it did of all that world building stuff, but you've kind of hit a nail on the head earlier when you said, this could have been like a 10-minute, short. Like I wasn't invested in the storyline in this, that Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope vaguely fall out because she wants to go into like a darker adult video game.
They seemed really out of character in this movie and like really mean-spirited to what they were in the first movie. Like both of them were thoroughly unlikable throughout this movie. Like they do things that are like just horrible, like no friends would do.
He puts putting the virus in the game was great. I love the whole internet virus stuff like that. But I feel as if I'm there for the world building, the little things, and you're right. That could have been a 20-minute short film attached to a Pixar film coming up sometime. Didn't feel like it warranted enough because the story it didn't. Ralph was a very sympathetic character in the first film. In this, he's like an asshole, and I know they make the point of making that a plot point. What his actions do. The best enemy is himself and stuff, but I didn't have any relief from the end of it. I didn't have any thoughts going into it. Coming out of it, it was fine. That kind of, I probably won't see it again.
Yeah.
And given the choice, I'd rather watch the first one again or actually play the game on my iPad because I've got the original. when the film came out years ago, they released it as a game, so you could actually play the Wreck-It Ralph game and all the other games. So I've still got that, and I don't know. Like it was great seeing. Like I said, I'm there for the world building in this, but I don't think it justified being a second film.
No, absolutely, I agree with that.
My worry is, I've never really spoken about Disney animated. I didn't really get to go to the cinema to see them much. Even Pixar. I love my Pixar. I've still not seen Incredibles 2. My issue moving forward is when we were younger, like I didn't see Lion King 2, Lion King 3. They were sequels, but they were not in the original 52. I always called them the 52.
Direct-to video.
Yeah. What's it? What number is it now? I always see the 52 because when we were buying them, there were 52 films. Is it like 55?
One is 57. Wreck-It Ralph 2.
God, that makes me feel old. Moving forward, there's Frozen 2 next year.
It's a very.
Is there anything after?
They'll probably do a Tangled 2, maybe. That will probably be on the horizon before too long. Maybe Zootopia. My
issue is that it's the first sequel, but there's one next year. Pixar in relative years have gone to the sequel bait. Coco was beautiful.
DreamWorks have as well, with the likes of Kung Fu Panda. We've had 3 Kung Fu Panda films. We've got How to Train Your Dragon 3 coming out. Shrek as well was,
Shrek's being rebooted, franchise, which is disgusting. Makes me feel sick.
Even Illumination, 3 Despicable Me films.
And a Grinch.
Yeah, so
I know they're rebooting Shrek, aren't they? Didn't they give the rights to them?
I think so. That's what I've heard.
It's going to be horrible. That'll probably be what I loved about when this Grinch. I didn't watch the Grinch from Vernon by now. When it came out, the demand was all about the original. Well, I say the original, like the Ron Howard, Jim Carrey Grinch film. Everyone was talking about that. It'll be the same when Shrek comes out. Everyone
Yeah.
will go back to Shrek. I mean, Shrek became a meme. It wasn't attention that gave it a reboot. It's because Shrek's become a meme online, and they want to make it into an animated film. But with Wreck-It Ralph, I didn't feel that there was enough substance to give it a sequel. It could have been one and done. Again, it was great to the internet, but that's something that could have been done online.
Yeah.
I can't even remember any of the new characters. I think Bill Hader played a virus, which was fine.
Your main new character was Gal Gadot's character of Shank.
I didn't know if Shank was meant to be a reference to something, or was it just the fact that Disney managed to get Wonder Woman in?
I think it's just that, and they styled her character. She looks
exactly like Gal Gadot. Yeah,
it's like the actress who played Moana, like like whatever, Cavallaway or something. I can't remember her name, but she looks exactly like her counterpart, and I think they've been doing that more so now with their Disney characters for the most part. Anyway, I agree with. If I'm going to compare this movie to two other ones, it felt like a mashup of Emoji Movie meets Inside Out. And I think Inside Out is probably the closest comparison. As you said, that Pixar one. My favorite stuff in the movie was like what you said, the great like visual gags and like little fun play on things you do with the internet, like the pop-up ads, etc., and the search thing. But I don't know how well this movie is going to age in like 5 or so years. The internet is constantly developing and changing. Like we see pop-ups of, like these established internet brands. Will these still be here in 5-10 years? Will this be horrifically dated? Who knows? But in
Snapchat died.
Yeah.
Trailer came out and Snapchat had already died because of an update. I mean, I like the fact it doesn't, except eBay, which probably will be if ever, no brand advertising whatnot is so specifically featured.
Yeah.
There's that it almost felt like they just, I even saw IMDb have its own little area.
It's really weird because the main focus of the movie is Ralph trying to make it big on the internet. They're essentially... They need a part for Vanellope's video game. They need to buy a steering wheel, and they don't understand how eBay works. And they think it's a game where if you bid the highest number, you win the game, essentially. They don't then realize you have to pay that money. So the bulk of the film is them, well, at least for a part, and then it kind of drops off a cliff and the film starts to do something else. It felt like a mash of two different stories. They're trying to find enough money to, get this part of the video game. And which then leads Ralph to trying to break into internet fame, get all the views and likes and subscribers and everything like that in order to get enough money. And they have this thing called BuzzTube, which is obviously a mix of BuzzFeed and YouTube. Yet you see links, like you see YouTube in the background in some of the wide shots. So maybe they were allowed to use it in that regard, but then couldn't go into it in case it made YouTube look bad or something like that. I don't know what kind of legal mess this entire movie must have been in to try and get the rights to all this stuff to use. And as a result of that, like this is Ralph Breaks the Internet. The video game stuff sadly takes a back seat in this one. We don't really get many cutbacks to many of the original characters. And I think with the video game world, like you could have continued it being just video games. I think there was a lot more stuff you could have done with that and developed with that. In terms of the Disney model, though, like we talked about the sequels like Frozen 2 coming out and everything like that. This is the current state of Disney that I don't like. Now, don't get me wrong, Disney have brought out sequels to their main classics line. We've had Fantasia 2000, for example. We had Rescuers Down Under, and I think there might be another example somewhere in there, but I can't remember. I think they're the main two anyway. So they have done sequels, but these sequels seem to be much closer together now. It seems like they are focusing more on that franchise-based thing, and also the fact that the likes of Frozen, for example, made all of the money. And Frozen merchandise, especially around Christmas, it's kind of got that vague link with it now because Snow is in the movie, essentially. Like that's just how Disney's moving now, and I've got to like that model. Otherwise, I'm never going to like Disney movies again. I do like when Disney have their original stuff, though. And I think they should try and get back to that, or at least throw more of them in along the way.
Yeah, and that's my kind of grinding issue with that. They've had a couple of original films, which is great. Please don't get sidetracked into sequels. And if you do direct DVD, Pixar, they have done sequels in the past. Mind boggles how Cars became a trilogy, though. But it's nice that I think Pixar's next film after Toy Story 4, they've announced like they've announced a voice cast for it now. So Chris Pratt, Tom Holland, that, it must have been not E3, it must have been D23 about 2 years ago. Disney announced like 4 films. It was a Cars sequel, an Incredibles sequel, a Toy Story sequel, and then Coco. Mm-hmm. Coco was great. Obviously, I haven't seen Incredibles. Toy Story's come out the next year, and Cars 3 was Cars 3.
Yeah, the next Pixar film after Toy Story 4 is coming out March 6th, 2020. It's called Onward.
And that's what I'm saying. I think Pixar, you know, they announced 4 films, 3 sequels. They're going to go back to originals. Great, because I loved Coco. That was absolutely wonderful. That was a joy to watch. And I feel Disney animated, there's been more into my Pixar than Disney animated, but please don't make up the sequels, because animate. I used to relate Pixar as more of a sequel company, whereas animated, I'm sure there's been more, but I think Fantasia was technically a sequel, and that was like a 70-year gap. It's a bit different, but an outright Frozen 2, Wreck-It Ralph 2, that's very quick turnover of 6 years with each.
Yeah, it's a very different model of Disney. I've pretty much said everything in terms of anime. If we just look at the animation now, and then we'll round off after that, because I honestly don't have much to say on this film. The animation's fine, like it's great, but there's nothing new in it that blows me away. I really because it always tends to be Disney or Pixar win the Oscar for Best Animated Feature every year. I really hope this year it goes to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I know you haven't seen it, but trust me, you would love that movie. Like, honestly, hand on heart, I know how much of a fan you are of Spider-Man, especially the Raimi trilogy. You would love that movie. And in terms of when I saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I was looking at that animation going, I can honestly say I haven't seen anything like this in my life. It looked like a blend of loads of different styles, but it was still very much its own thing, very much suited like the comic book world and kind of visuals to it. And like I'd seen stuff in that movie I'd never seen before. And to me, that is what should justify a film in the animation category winning an Oscar, if it definitely does, because I do think it has pushed the envelope for animation. Whereas this, it's just more of the same, you know. I'm not taking away from like the sheer amount of like hours and stuff that the animators have put into it. For example, there's like a giant Ralph at the end that's made up of like loads of thousands of little Ralphs, and you can tell that they've all been like individually animated. Must have took hours of rendering time to do that. There is impressive stuff in there, but the story and the characters just didn't grab me with this one. It seemed like they put so much focus into that fun side of the internet and fun gags like that, but they didn't continue the characters. The characters didn't feel like the same ones moving into the second movie. The way that Vanellope acts, how the whole first movie was her wanting to find like a home essentially and a friend and you know, a place she can call her own. Then at the beginning of this movie, she kind of follows Ralph's pattern from the first one. She's unhappy with where she is. She wants to find somewhere different, and she's happy to, you know, shack up with Shank, who she's only met for 5 minutes in like a GTA very violent world. It didn't seem out, you know, it seemed very out of character to me with her character. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it.
I don't really have a.
Jay, sorry, I was just reading a comment that JX has put. Have either of you gotten details from the 3 movies you reviewed today mixed up? Mary Poppins, Bumblebee breaks the internet. No, we haven't. We've done very well. We stayed on track. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't hate it, but I don't really have any opinions on it.
Yeah, it's one of them films. It was fine. There's nothing special, nothing awful. It's just kind of gone about mid-table.
Yeah, there's one other thing I'll say about the movie as well in terms of the music, which will probably get nominated for Best Original Song. There is a song in this movie. It's kind of like a Disney princess song. It's called, oh God, what's it called?
Do you think I'll get nominated?
I think it will, yeah. Let me just find the song. A Place Called Slaughter Race. Vanellope talks about how when she hangs around with the princesses, she says, like, you know, they all sing about their problems or something like that, or something that means a lot to them. And she gets her own one. Listening to the music, it did sound very much like one of like my old school 90s Disney films. It sounded like Alan Menken. And I just read up, he didn't do the lyrics for it, but he did the background music for that one song in particular, which makes sense.
What I will say, Sarah Silverman's got a great voice. She's in when I was listening to Jeff Goldblum's jazz album, she actually comes on stage and sings a song. She's got a very good voice. You didn't hear that in that song. She's got a very good voice in real life, but I love the song that was taking the piss out of all the Disney princesses. But then I don't think they'll get nominated. I think it's a very strong year. Mary Poppins, Star is Born, and Black Panther's going to get all the stars nominated. So I don't know if that one will get up there.
Yeah.
Time will tell. I really hope. I mean, I've not seen Spider-Verse. It's fair to not judge while watching, but I really hope the Spider-Verse wins Best Animated. Yeah. I should have seen it by then. There's no way I wouldn't have seen it by the time the Oscars rolled around. But if that gets shunned,
I was going to say, if that's like the new Lego movie, where it just going to get snubbed at the
because it was a silly technicality that Lego movie didn't get nominated because they had a live action scene at the end.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse needs to win.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree. I've pretty much. Would I recommend Wreck-It Ralph 2? It's fine. Like, it's going to shut your kids up for an hour and a half to 2 hours. But if you know, if you really did have like a burning love for the first one, you might be disappointed with a lot of elements in this one. It's an innocent movie. It's fine. But in terms of like the pedigree that Disney's been putting out recently, especially with the likes of Moana, Zootopia, I didn't like it, but Frozen is more like much more of a traditional Disney film, or the likes of Tangled, for example. Disney have been on a roll recently with their films, and I just don't think this is up to the caliber. But you know, I don't know what their next movie is. If it is Frozen 2, if that is indeed their next movie or whatever it happens to be, I'll be there because I'm a diehard Disney fan. I will be to the day I die. But I just want another good one. That would be nice. But that'll do it for our review on Ralph Breaks the Internet. Be sure to comment, subscribe, let us know what you thought of this movie. Did you like this movie? How would you compare it to the first? Any thoughts on Disney, specifically this movie or anything Disney have put out? Please do let us know. That will kind of do it for 2018, I guess. Almost. We do have one more video to bring for you tomorrow, New Year's Eve. We do this every year. This is an annual tradition on the channel now, where it'll be me, you, and Tate. It'll be the trio back together again, where we'll be doing two videos, two separate streams. We'll be doing our top 5 best movies of the year and top 5 worst movies of the year. So that's going to be very interesting. Scrolling back tomorrow, because we see a lot of movies. I forget which movies I've seen sometimes. I think we all do that. But going through and compiling that list is going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, that will cap off 2018 nicely. A very mixed bag year for films, I think it's fair to say. A lot of underwhelming ones, a lot of not so great ones, but also towards the end of the year, some very great ones. So
I think it had a great start, a great end, and an average middle.
Yeah, it was the big blockbuster movies from this year that just like really didn't do it for a lot of people. But yeah, no, we'll be talking all about the year of 2018 tomorrow, and then we're into a brand new fresh year of movies and Oscar season. So the cycle is just going to keep repeating, folks. But that'll do it from us. We're very tired. We've done 3 streams tonight, but please join us when we go live for that tomorrow. Hit the bell icon so you get a notification when we go live for those. Check out our social media links there in the description down below. Thank you to everyone that has commented on all of our videos tonight, and until tomorrow, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.